Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. Today, I've been selling off some of my collection, and I've been buying quite a few new snakes. So I've been dealing a lot with, customers or other breeders, and I wanted to talk about customer service from both sides, from the buying side and from the selling side. And I'm sure at some point everybody has worked in retail or customer service at some point, whether it was McDonald's or a local restaurant, to customer service when you're an adult and you work at a call center or a front desk or something like that. And everybody knows the old adage that the customer's always right. It's true in one way, and it's kind of not true. I've been in customer service basically since I've been working since I was a teenager, retail or otherwise. And sometimes customers aren't right, and they're not a right fit for you. And sometimes as a business owner, you have to fire a client because they're just not good for you. But 99% of the time, the customer is always right. And it's your job as a business owner or as an employee of a business to make the sales experience positive. There are definitely, the meme going around now is there's a bunch of Karens, and there are Karens everywhere. It's definitely true. I've dealt with my fair share of them. Not necessarily, selling ball pythons, but, in my other jobs. So I've been contacting, I've had quite a few people contacting me regarding the snakes I've been selling recently. And I've never actually had an issue with a customer yet with the ball pythons. And I've, since last summer had 30 plus sales, plus, the people that request information that don't actually buy anything. I've never really had any issues. But I have had issues on the client side, requesting information or trying to talk to another breeder to either buy a snake or get information about a snake. So I contacted somebody last week regarding, now I'm not going to say the name of the breeder. Maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe this is how he always is. To me, his responses were absolutely terrible. And I'm assuming this is probably the way he deals with everything. He has been around for a while. He's not like one of the biggest name breeders, but he's been around a while. So there was a female that I was looking at. I'm going to read you the email here. It's an expensive female. Something that I'm one of the projects that I'm working on. A lot of money, a couple $1,000s for this snake. The only thing listed on the listing was the year the snake was born. Nothing else was on there. And I think a lot of the issues in communication on Morph Market can be avoided if you're listing a snake. List as much information as possible that you can about the snake. List the year it was born. If you can, list the month. If you can, even better, list the day. List the current weight. List what it's eating. If it's a female, tell in the description, when its last clutch was and how many eggs it's laid. Provide all that information up front so that when there are people shopping, they don't have to ask you 1,500 questions. You don't have to have 20 different emails going back and forth. So all that information up front, everybody can see it. It makes life a lot easier. This snake just had the price tag and it had the year it was born. So my first message was, "Hi, what's her current weight?" And his response was, this is verbatim, I'm reading the email, "I have no idea. I don't weigh any of my animals. They are eating rats weekly." So, to me, it was rude in a way, because I'm talking about buying a snake worth thousands of dollars from you. I wasn't asking you whether or not you weighed your snakes. I was asking you to weigh the snake or give me a current weight of the snake. And basically he refused to do it and told me, basically, don't worry about it. It's healthy. I said, my response to him was, I asked for the weight, not whether or not you weigh your snakes. Meaning, I was interested in buying this expensive snake. I don't know. The weight isn't a very savvy answer. Thanks for giving me insight into the type of customer service you provide. Um, at that point, after his first response, I knew I wasn't buying the snake from him because I've never had a snake breeder who didn't list the weight of the snake refuse to give me the weight of the snake. There's a lot of breeders, I see a lot of breeders that, the higher volume breeders like Royal Constrictor Designs, they have thousands and thousands of babies that they hatch every year. It's understandable to me if they don't list the weight for every single snake. But I've asked him for a weight on a snake before, and he's given it to me. He has tons of stuff to do. But if he can take time out of his day to weigh a snake and give me a current weight, then this guy can. Anybody can. And that's part of basic customer service. I wasn't asking you whether it was possible to weigh the snake or not. I was asking you for the weight. If you're refusing to give me the weight of the snake, I do not want to give you my money, and I don't think anybody should. I'm not going to be the type of person who's going to try to ruin this guy's business. But I'm sure he's had the same response to everybody else that's ever asked him to weigh a snake. Because after, asking about this snake, none of his snakes have weights listed. They only have years. And when you're making a big investment into a snake and there's no weight listed and you just have the year of the birth of the snake, that's not a lot of information. This snake was several years old, and let's say it was a 2019. It could have been born in January 2019, or it could have been born in December 2019. That's a difference of 12 months. That snake could be a year old at this point, or it could be 2 years old, which is also a huge difference in weight. And with a female, that's the difference between it being able to breed this year and not being able to breed this year, which is why I wanted to know the weight of the snake. I wanted to know if I'd be able to breed it this year or if I was still going to be a year or two off. So his response to that email was, weight doesn't matter. That is why I don't weigh any of my snakes, which is a complete BS answer, a lie, and I can't even believe that was his response to it. You can have a 500 gram male breed and a 1500 gram male not breed. Similarly, you can have a 2000 gram female give you eggs and a 4000 gram female not give you eggs. So weight doesn't matter. So I don't weigh any of my animals. That's a complete lie. Weight absolutely does matter. Because again, this snake could have been a year old, 2 years old. It could have been severely underfed. It could be ready to breed or not ready to breed. So my response to him was, and this is the last time we email each other back and forth, was, everything you said is irrelevant in the scheme of someone buying a snake. This is almost a 2-year-old snake that's worth several $1,000s. It absolutely matters how big it is. Is it breeding size, or has it been a picky eater and still a ways off from breeding? That's very important information to me, the buyer. What exactly am I getting for this high price tag? Transparency, bro. If someone buys this snake from you without requesting any of that information, I would be surprised. But it has been listed for well over a year, so what do I know? So, to me, that's like a super cringe-worthy interaction with a breeder. And somebody that has had more than one sale, this guy has had quite a few sales, and it seems like he's been around a while as well. I don't know how he's staying in business. I contacted somebody else in the last couple of weeks about a snake. I had a couple questions about the genes because I was asking about the pairing that produced this snake, and I never got a response. On Morph Market, you can see when you send an email and when they read the email. The person read the email, they just never replied to it. So I kind of, when that happens, I also kind of forget about it. But I, as the week went on, I was looking around at different snakes, and I noticed another one at that person's snakes, and I decided to email the person about that snake and said, look, I'm interested in this snake. I also emailed you, I don't know, like a week ago, and I never got a reply on this snake. Can you please, give me the information on that as well? And they eventually did reply to that, and I said, great, thank you. And this is another part of having an accurate listing. On both animals, it said for negotiations, it said, we'll consider. So I placed an offer. I said, the one snake had been listed for well over 6 months. The other snake had been listed for maybe a month or two. To me, when you have a snake that's been listed for months, well over 6 months, that means that the price is too high. There's a market for every snake, but if your snake is on Morph Market for months on end, unless it's a super expensive snake because there's only one or two of them out there, it shouldn't be listed that long. If it's listed that long, your price tag's too high. So to me, as a buyer or seller, that means there's room for negotiation. Now, I don't try to lowball anybody. There are just people out there that have price tags that are way too high on their snakes, and that's easy to tell because you can look at comps. You can pull up the list of previously sold ball pythons with the same genes and see what the prices are. And I had a frank conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago. It was very, very, very friendly. I just said, look, he said, place an offer, and I said, look, every other snake that has sold at this price range has, been like $300 less than what you're asking for it. He said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I said, that's fine. I said, but I'm not going to pay your price tag. That's not what it's worth. I'm not going to spend an extra couple $100 just because you want it. And he said, that's fine. He said, I'm just going to hold on to it. I said, cool. All right. Talk to you later. So I placed an offer with this guy, and he said no. So I replied to him. I said, well, how about this price? I upped it a couple $100, and he said no. And to me, if you have will consider on your listings and somebody places an offer, I think part of being a good business owner is making a counteroffer. This is a marketplace. It's called Morph Market. It's a marketplace. Whether you're selling on Morph Market or whether you're selling at a trade show, people negotiate. If people place offers on my snakes, I had a piebald female that I had listed earlier in the week, and I had sold previous pied females, adult females, for the price I had it listed. So I knew that it was going to sell within 12 to 24 hours, and it did for full price because I knew that's what it would sell for. I had guys come in a couple $100 under that, and I said, sorry, no. I said, it's going to sell for this price. That's what you're going to have to pay for it. And actually the guy who bought it actually placed an offer a couple $100 under what I was listing it for. I said, sorry, it's going to go for full price. I know it will. I've already had 5 emails about it. And he said, okay, I'll pay full price. So that's what the negotiation was. But I was upfront with him, and I said, look, I know what this snake's worth. I'm not selling it to you for less. I know there's a really good pied females that are close to breeding size are in very high demand. I think she was the only one actually listed at that point in time on all of Morph Market. It's going to sell. And I knew that, and that's part of being a good business owner. That's part of being a savvy salesman. And the buyer had no issue with that. He was just trying to save a couple bucks, and I understand that because I do it too when I'm buying. But it was an honest conversation, and he's happy, I'm happy, I got paid, he got the snake he wanted. But the other part of that, again, running a successful business or being a successful business owner, or it all comes down to customer service. That's what this industry is. You're breeding and selling snakes, but somebody has to buy them. And if you're doing this as a full-time job, which I'm not at this point, but I hope to be in a year or two, you need to make sure that the clients are happy at the end of the day. you can't just not have conversations with them when they're making reasonable requests like what are the genetics of the snake, or what was the pairing of the snake, or how old is the snake, or how much does it weigh. Those are legitimate questions that you should be able to answer and willingly answer. If you can't, I honestly don't know how you stay in business. So, it's frustrating. I know there are terrible owners out there, people with terrible customer service skills, and I think I don't know, from my experience in the reptile industry, and I've been around this stuff for I don't know. I mean, I'm 36 years old and I've been going to reptile shows probably for 30 years. At least in my area, the crowd that's drawn into the industry isn't. God, I don't know how to say this without sounding geez. They're not the most customer service forward group of people. Now, I think there's been a slight shift. I think the reptile industry has shifted to a little more mainstream than it was, 30, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So there's like a new crowd of people coming into it. So I think it's a little different than it used to be. But overall, like the old guard, a lot of them still are. There's a lot of grumpy old men. There's a lot of old guys that just don't care about the whole customer service end of it, and they're still staying afloat. I don't know how they're doing it. I feel like if this was any other industry, at some point they would have failed. I think it's because people maybe love these pets so much, they love these animals, that if that guy has a snake that you want, you're gonna buy it regardless. But with the advent of Morph Market, I really don't like seeing people that stay afloat. To me, if you're a bad business person, if you're not going to be good with customer service, if you're not going to provide a good experience for your customer, you shouldn't be in business and you should fail. That's not what this is about. I mean, this is supposed to be something where they're investing their hard-earned money, and sometimes a lot of it, into an animal they're buying from you. You shouldn't make that experience hard. I've made a few purchases this weekend, and everybody I bought from was super easy to work with. Like quick responses. I bought like 2 snakes that were kind of expensive, and I wasn't going to go below sticker price. They just said, "Hey, look, I'm spending a lot of money. Can you just do free shipping?" I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." Which is a reasonable request. I feel like, to be honest, unless it's a big snake, like these bigger females, they cost $100 plus to ship. I don't know if I offer free shipping with those, but let's say in the future I have hatchlings that they sell for a couple $1,000s. I would most likely offer free shipping on them because they don't cost as much to ship, $30-40. I can eat that if you're spending $2,000. I don't know if I'm going to eat $150 in shipping costs if you're buying a 3,000 gram female, regardless of how much you pay for it. So, everybody that I've purchased from, I've been happy with the experience, and the people that I haven't purchased from, it's because we couldn't come to an agreement, which is fine, or they've provided terrible customer service. And, the 2 guys that I gave an example of here are perfect of that. One that's not responding to emails or has very short responses and isn't willing to negotiate, or the other guy who has a really screwed up way of dealing with customers. If I didn't know any better, If I was brand new into this and that guy would have told me it doesn't matter what the weight of the snake is, I wouldn't have known to question that. But I'm telling you right now, if somebody's telling you the weight of the snake doesn't matter, it's complete BS because it does matter. You can have a 4-year-old snake that's still not to breeding size, which tells you a lot about the snake. It's been a picky eater for 4 years, and you may not want that snake. That may not be something you want to deal with. There's snakes that are a year old that are like over 1,000 grams, which means it's been a fantastic eater, which maybe is a snake that you maybe want to spend a couple extra bucks on. I have a couple girls listed now that have put on like over 600-700 grams since last June because they just eat all the time, whether they're shedding or not. And I don't power feed them. I just feed them once a week, small rats, and they're growing huge because they eat really well. To me, that's important to know and understand because I also have some other females, some of my older breeder females that are sort of picky. They don't eat every week or every other week. Sometimes they go a month or two without eating. Sometimes they eat live, sometimes they eat frozen. Some of them took a while to grow up because they are picky eaters. So that information is important, and I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have been doing this for a couple years. So, you can get a lot of misinformation from people with bad customer service skills, and kind of the whole topic of this video is for me to kind of rant about those 2 experiences I had this weekend, and to also tell you that customer service is important. You're building a relationship with the breeder you're buying from, and if you're a breeder or a new breeder watching this, you're building a relationship with your customers. You want them to come back. You want them to buy from you again. You want to make it easy for them, and as a customer, you want to have open lines of communication with the breeder. To be honest, my goal is to sell, happy, healthy snakes, and I don't want to talk to a customer more than I have to, because communication takes more time out of my day. My goal is to send you a happy, healthy snake, and for that snake to thrive. And I really don't want you to contact me unless you want to buy another snake, because that means that you're having issues with the snake. That's not good from my perspective, and that's not good for you. And it takes more time out of my day when I could be spending time with my kids, or taking care of my collection, or doing yard work. Really, I mean, any of that stuff. Like, your goal is to minimize the amount of contact you have with people, other than what's necessary. And you can look at that from either perspective, whether you're the customer or the breeder. So customer service is extremely important. You really need to make sure that you're providing a bunch of detail to your customers, good information, and you're happy to help. That's what your goal is. You're a snake breeder, but you're also dealing with customers. You have to, or else you can't sell the snakes. So you want to provide a good experience for them. And in the buying process, if you run into a breeder who seems like they don't want to communicate with you and they just want to make the sale, don't buy from them. Absolutely don't buy from them. Because if there are issues with that snake in the future, they're not going to be any help to you. Not at all. I had, let's see, my Zeus, my pastel phantom leopard highway male I bought from the ball python shed. It's expensive snake, and when I first got him, there was like 2, 3, 4 weeks where he wasn't eating, and I got kind of worried, to be honest, because he was expensive. It was like the first expensive snake I had ever purchased, and I was like, holy crap, like, he's not eating. He's a hatchling. It's part of the reason I don't like buying expensive hatchlings either. To me, they're more risky than more developed snakes, because more developed snakes have obviously been around a while. They've been eating, so obviously they've proven to thrive. So I kind of got worried, so I emailed them. I said, could you just give me some background info on this snake? What was he eating? Usually I just get the snakes in and I feed them, and they're fine. I don't worry about what type of food they were eating or what type of bedding they were on. I said, look, I said, he's not eating yet. Can you please just, let me know, like, what exactly was he eating? What type of bedding was he on? Did you have hides in there? Whatever. And they replied within an hour or two, gave me all of that information. Plus, he said, look, if it's not eating for you, send it back to me. I'll get them back on food for you, and I will ship them back to you. Obviously you're going to pay for shipping, but I said, I'm not going to do that yet. Let me try to get it figured out. If it's something where he's not eating in a couple of weeks, I'll let you know. That was something where I made a couple adjustments to his tub. I actually almost filled the whole thing up with Reptichip, so it was more like a cave, and he started eating right away, and he's been eating ever since. So it was, something I had to figure out on my end. But their customer service was terrific. They replied to me. They gave me all the information I asked for. He even offered to bring the snake back to his collection, feed it for me, get it back on food, and then ship it back. Outstanding customer service. That is exactly the experience you want as a customer when you're spending a lot of money on some of these snakes. You don't want the guy who says, I don't weigh my snakes. Weight's not important. It doesn't matter. That is, like, honestly the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can't believe that an established breeder had that sort of a response. I hope he changes his tune at some point. I hope he rereads that email someday and thinks, wow, I was stupid. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I need to change the way I'm replying to customers. If he doesn't change his tune, I don't know how you stay in business. How do you keep having interactions with customers like that and succeed? Because that snake's been up for sale for over a year. He lost thousands of dollars because I was probably going to buy it if he would have given me the information I wanted up front. That's pretty dumb. You losing thousands of dollars because you can't weigh a snake, because you refuse to weigh a snake. That is stupid. Very stupid. Poor business management skills, poor customer service skills, and it's a recipe for disaster for your business. So if you're getting into this from the breeding side and you want it to be a business, you need to develop good customer service skills. If you don't have them, you need to be happy to help and not suck like that guy. So that's where I'm going to leave this video. It's actually almost 30 minutes. So that means I talked forever. So if you stuck with the video this long, congratulations. If you didn't, well, then you'll never see this message. So that's my rant on customer service. Just do it. Be good at it. Learn how to be good at it, and always be happy to help the customers. And if you're a customer and you're not getting good positive responses up front, don't buy, because it's probably a recipe for disaster in the future. So that's it for today's vlog. Thanks for stopping by, and please remember to like and subscribe. See ya.